Hi, and just after taking you through that incredibly convoluted tutorial on how we've actually achieved this setup, we're actually going to get down to the nitty-gritty of looking at one of the latest beats that we've done for a video game soundtrack, and it's also to be released on Symphonic Hip Hop 3. That's Symphonic Hip Hop 3 coming out in a couple of weeks, but for those who've been anxiously awaiting what our latest release is and how we do it, I'm going to take you through it right now. So I'm just going to start by soloing each one of the tracks. We're going to just look at this very, very simple kick pattern. That's right, that's very explosive kick sound that we came in just a few minutes ago. So we're starting with that. And now let's add a snare pattern. As you can see, it's an extremely simple pattern. Let's add some timpani. I'm going to stop it right there for a second. It's very important to remember that when you're recording these, that you keep in mind that these are supposed to be live instruments, okay? The hip-hop element is something that's a little tighter quantized than normal. It does have a little bit of swing to it, but it's a very tight element. But the orchestral instruments are always played in live. They always have a live feel to them, and there's no quantizations. So let's have a look at... Now, we've added a sort of slam sound in there that's got a little big pow to the background. Of course, cymbals on the 1 and 2. Okay, so this is a very important thing to remember that we do a lot in tracks, and that is that we're mixing up the elements of tempo. So we have the tempo, and we'll just pull the tempo reader up here and just drag it into the screen display. We have the tempo here. It's at 160 beats per minute in this particular case, but the track itself is actually playing back at half time that. So this tempo that's fixed at 160 beats per minute means that the track is actually at 80 beats per minute. So the beat is quite slow, but this rushing me beat is actually playing back at 160. So you have this combination of half time and full time. So again, hence the reason why we call it the rushing me beat. Now, obviously, the bowing strings, which are the actual articulated string sound, is going to provide you with a very fast string run. Now, providing it with that extremely fast string run, it's going to actually add as a big contrast to the beat that sort of lumbers on, that sounds a little bit big and heavy. And has that very, very strong hip-hop flavor, but we have the bowing strings running at double the tempo, providing that additional tension. And now, of course, to go along with the lumbering beat, male choirs. So they sound a lot like somebody dragging their feet, a low string sound to go with that. Now you can see that the flavor that's beginning to build in the track itself. Big slams. Now I'm going to stop the playback of the track for a minute and show you how many tracks there are in the mix. We can see here that there's a great deal of detail in these tracks. So there is many tracks that have been set up to play this back, and a number of effects groups that we've created. So it's very, very important that we actually take a minute and actually listen to the detail that's in just the melodics itself. So it's very important with this style of music that it have some kind of space around it. Now, We're going to get into more detail on how that space is created in many more tutorials coming up, which will take our our loyal buyers and purchasers through this kind of thing. But I thought it'd be a very, very good thing for you guys to see that there's a tremendous amount of work, detail, and effort that goes into the execution of all of these tracks. It's obviously worth it in the end for the users and everything. But the most important thing to remember is that those orchestral instruments and those electronic instruments have that right kind of balance. So it achieves that very, very organic quality. It achieves a very electronic quality, and obviously it keeps the interest of, in this particular case, on something that's as varied as tempo. So thanks for listening.